It feels distant now, like watching a cracked pick feed. You're there aboard the Macrag's Honor *, but you're separate, watching Roboute fall, not in glorious conquest, but betrayal, fulgrim, twisted beyond brotherhood, beautiful and vile. His blade, the one gifted by the serpent cults, dripping not just venom, but pure dissolution. It slid through the armor of reason like it was parchment, right into Guilliman's chest. Didn't kill him instantly, no. That's where the horror truly lies. The phylactery kept him aware of his body decaying cell by cell from a poison designed for a demigod. Aware as his own apothecaries, faces grim masks etched with despair, hooked him up to the stasis field generators. Did you ever see his eyes just before the field snapped into place, frozen, utterly lucid, pain yes, unimaginable nerve-firing agony, but sharper still was the understanding. Betrayal by a brother, the scouring he was leading, collapsing. He was being locked away, preserved like some rare fruit in a jar. A fire engulfed the orchard, his very being revolted against it even as the cold clarity of the stasis seized him. 10 millennia, trapped witnessing only the slow fade of his own light and the faintest echoes of an Imperium crumbling away from the ideals he forged on Macragge, revered as a marble idol, a holy corpse in a cathedral, while everything he built shattered. Now jump forward, 10 millennia of silence and war. Imagine your senses screaming back online, light scalds your eyes. Sound is a physical blow, claxons, distorted wails, the shriek of rent metal, wrongness, permeates everything. The air tastes like ozone and rust, thick with the greasy stench of demon oil and spill promethium. You weren't called back by trumpets or hymns, you were ripped from sleep by chaos. Aeldari seers whispered ancient words laced with death magic, channeled through their chosen conduit, Yvrain. It's not gentle resurrection. It feels like being flayed, rebuilt, then flayed again. Reality contracts around you on that alien craft world. Same hand. They call it the world of sticks. Poetic. Feels more like a nest of needles. The Ynnari played a desperate gamble, using the raw power unleashed by Abaddon's black crusade, tearing at reality itself. The concentrated howl of the warp from the sanctified daemon host bearing down on them as the key, the explosive trigger, it shattered the stasis field. Imagine it. One moment, absolute frozen timelessness, the next, agony so profound it blanks the mind. You're gasping on a cold deck not your own, lungs burning with air you haven't tasted in lifetimes. Your muscles are liquid fire, your vision swims, and towering above you, not friend, but pure nightmare made manifest, the sanctified. Its roar is your welcome back to existence. Iron tang of your own blood coats your tongue even as you struggle to lift limbs turned to lead vulnerability. Sheer, terrifying vulnerability. You haven't felt that since Caliban. The Eldar didn't save you for kindness. They needed a shield. A Primarch-sized bulwark against oblivion. The irony twists in your gut, sharp as Fulgrim's sword. You stagger back aboard Macragge's Honor or what's left of her. The grand strategic mind screams for data, assessment, comprehension, but your eyes are human eyes processing carnage. You see decay, filth-clogging sacred mechanisms, ritual purity seals overlapping critical circuitry like obscene barnacles. servitors groaning under rust and poorly administered sacred oil. The ship stinks of desperation and sanctified rot, not disciplined order. The reports wash over you first. Fragmented, hysterical, vox-traffic bleeding from Terra itself. Cadia fallen, the galaxy cleft into by a permanent storm of screaming psychic rage. Your segmenta, shattered fiefdoms fighting desperate, isolated battles against horrors that multiply geometrically. Xenos empires surging, heretic legions unified under the old traitor's mark. The abyss star, the scale is staggering. Not decline, not stagnation, this is active, accelerated disintegration, a death spiral into madness, and then it hits like a macro-cannon shell. They call him the God Emperor, God *. You walk corridors filled with votive candles, an incense thick enough to choke. Statues replaced his practical visage with a stern, crowned deity you don't recognize. They chant his name as prayer, not proclamation. Your writings, the Codex *, reduced to cryptic dogma, used to condemn innovation and justify brutal inefficiency. This isn't the future you fought for with sword and treatise. You carved a path of logic and human potential. They buried it under a mountain of bones and blind dogma. It feels like looking at the ruins of your childhood home, defiled beyond recognition. The cold shock settles, replaced by a slow-burning, acidic rage. The trail twists again, not by a brother this time, but by 10,000 years of fear and superstition. Pain is the anchor, the armor of fate, the gift from a name pulled from ancient annals. Belisarius' cowl, even breathing hurts within its suffocating embrace as he kneels before you. Clever, to clever by half, he offers more than repairs. He offers tools forged in hidden labs over centuries, fueled by dangerous secrets wrestled from dusty Mars archives and sealed orders. Primaris, legionnaire physiology pushed to dangerous new edges, encoded by your own genetic template. New weapons meant for wars you never dreamed would come. You don't trust him, his ambition is a palpable energy field. But the need drowns caution. Ultramar burns, the whole galaxy burns. Duty, that harsh, unrelenting master, locks itself around your soul. There is no time for mourning, no time for philosophical debate with this tech. Priest draped in shadows, he has the means. You have the command authority, the strategic mind honed on 1,000 battlefields, a flicker of grim resolve crystallizing into terrifying purpose. Hope, it feels absurdly fragile, an impossible, fluttering moth caught in a hurricane, but it's there. The sheer, bloody-minded refusal to let humanity's light gutter out. You raise your voice not in prayer, but in a stratagem's call. It echoes through the battered fleet Vox network, amplified from the throne room of the honored lady herself. Prepare the fleet, rally the legions, chart the immediate threats. You speak words that haven't been heard since the Emperor strode the decks. Indomitus. We crusade. It feels like trying to haul the continent from sliding into the ocean with sheer will. And yet, you must, there is simply nothing else left to do. Listen closely, you know the Imperium, you've seen the decay, the mountains of parchment choking administratum halls, the wars fought with logistics strangled by 10,000 years of neglect. It's a machine grinding itself into dust. But imagine something else. Imagine order. Imagine systems that work That was Ultramar. That was Roboute Guilliman's gift, long before the heresy tore everything apart. Think of Macragge, the heart of Ultramar, not just a fortress world, but the hub of a realm. 500 worlds, each one integrated, each one contributing, each one governed by principles sharper than any chainsword: logic, efficiency, standardization. Guilliman didn't just conquer worlds. He built them. He saw potential, not just compliance. He believed humanity, guided by reason and structure, could achieve stability, prosperity, even progress within the Emperor's bounds, yes, but bounds defined by pragmatism, not blind dogma. Ultramar wasn't just defended by warriors. It was sustained by administrators, engineers, planners. The Legiones Astartes were the shield, but the intricate machinery of governance was the bedrock. He wrote manuals, protocols, doctrines. The foundations of the Codex Astartes were laid here, born from the necessity of managing a realm, not just waging war. His mind wasn't solely fixed on battlefields. It mapped supply lines, agricultural yields, judicial appeals. He was the Primarch who understood that true power lies not just in force, but in organization. Then came the heresy, the scouring, the long night, and Guilliman awoke, not to triumph, but to a nightmare 10 millennia deep. The Imperium, he knew, was gone, buried under layers of ossified ritual, suffocating bureaucracy, and fanatical faith. He saw the rot, he saw the inefficiency bleeding the Imperium dry, and he acted. The Guilliman Protocols, you've heard the name, whispered in stratagems and hissed in ecclesiarchal chambers. It's not a single decree. It's a tidal wave of reform crashing against the cliffs of tradition. Imagine volumes thicker than fortress walls, dissecting every facet of imperial function. Military reorganization, of course, refining the chapters born from his own codex, but deeper tax collection protocols designed to minimize graft. Standardized interstellar shipping manifests compatible across subsectors. A complete restructuring of the Lex Imperialis, trying to impose coherence on 10,000 years of contradictory edicts and precedents. He rewrote the operating system of a crumbling empire. His most cunning, perhaps desperate, stroke, the tertiary command structure. He knows the existing adepta are choked with inertia, riddled with corruption, or bound by dogma. So he built parallel hierarchies within them. Think of it, administratum adepts reporting not just up their ossified chain, but sideways to a Guilliman-appointed logistician. Unitorum officers shadowed by officers trained directly in Guilliman's new doctrines. It's a bypass, a way to root essential functions around the blockages he couldn't immediately remove. He's crafting new, efficient pathways onto the decaying body of the Imperium, hoping the new systems will eventually supplant the old. Standardization became a crusade in itself, forcing compatible tech standards, manufacturing tolerances, data formats, trying to make the Imperium scattered parts actually fit together again. Imagine the sheer, grinding effort of that. And oh, the resistance, you feel it, don't you? The sheer, staggering weight, of 10,000 years pushing back. Every step is like wading through tar. Entire administrative departments exist solely to obstruct change, protecting their petty fiefdoms and ancient, nonsensical procedures. The Adeptus Mechanicus balks at his enforced standards, clinging to their mysteries, but the fiercest fire, it comes from the ecclesiarchy, the ministorum. Faith is the bedrock now. The Emperor God, Guilliman, the living Son, embodies a terrifying contradiction to their dogma. He knows the Emperor wasn't divine, not then. He sees the superstition choking reason. Their collision was inevitable. He doesn't dismantle them. He can't. Faith is the only glue holding much of the Imperium together. Instead, he forces compromises. He uses their fervor, reluctantly channeling it, while suppressing outright opposition like the Apostolic Council who dared defy him. He walks a razor's edge, tolerating the faith he despises because its collapse would doom billions. It's a constant, exhausting negotiation, a battle fought with decrees and political maneuvering as much as bolter fire. Every reform requires adjustment. Every concession feels like a step back from his ideal. It's Sisyphean. He pushes the boulder up the hill, knowing it will roll back, but pushes nonetheless because the alternative is the abyss. So what drives him? What's the vision beyond? The next logistical report, the next suppressed heresy, the next compromise with the cardinal. He dreams of a pax imperialis, not the blinding, crusading zeal of the Great Crusade. He knows that fire is gone, replaced by grim reality. But stable Imperium, one where worlds are fed, defenses are coordinated, threats are met with unified strength, not fractured panic. He wants to rebuild the promise, tempered by the lessons of betrayal and decay. He wants efficiency not for its own sake, but to give humanity a fighting chance, a platform to survive. Maybe, just maybe, to one day lift its head again. He wants to stem the bleeding, stop the slow slide into oblivion. But here's the knife twisting in his gut, the question that haunts every decree he signs. Can he truly succeed? Can meaningful change blossom in soil poisoned by millennia of fundamental rot? The Imperium is authoritarian to its core, its survival. Guilliman believes, demands central control, enforced order, yet isn't that very structure, that crushing hierarchy, the source of the stagnation he fights? He builds brighter futures with tools forged in darkness, force, control, suppression. To mend the machine, he must use its own broken parts. Does that mean he's just replicating the Emperor's original flaw, the tyranny that Horus used to justify his betrayal, albeit with cooler logic? Can you build a stable, rational future while upholding an edifice built on fanaticism and oppression? Guilliman wrestles with this daily. He sees the trap, he knows the contradictions, but he sees no other path. Only he possesses the vision, the administrative genius, and the sheer will to even attempt the task. He is the architect of order in an age of chaos, building his careful blueprints on the edge of a volcano, knowing the ground shakes beneath him. He will build, he will organize, he will fight the inertia, because if he stops, the Imperium dies, and so he labors on, the reluctant regent, the Primarch who builds not for conquest, but for survival, hoping against the crushing weight of history that his order can hold back the night long enough for a dawn he fears may never come. He remembered the Emperor, cold but vast, a colossus of intellect, draped in pragmatic radiance, not celestial glory, the imperial truth lashed by his command, a scalpel excising superstition. Faith was weakness, gods were parasites. mankind supreme and sovereign in its reason, that distant father demanding excellence. That was the bedrock of Guilliman's being. Then the long sleep ended. Not to the ordered Imperium he bled for, but this nightmare. Terra choked in ash, but worse, choked in incense. Billions swaying in frenzied congregation, screaming praises for the god emperor. Ekplexus hollow propaganda plastered his own face beside saints on stained glass. Armored angels wept tears of snakeskin. Anchored bolter shells were sold as relics. He saw a wounded soldier press lips to a splinter of tainted metal, praying to him. Revulsion, thick and acrid, coated his tongue. A physical sickness. The imperial truth lay shattered, not at his feet, but buried beneath millennia of gilded credulity. Their victory, this monstrous parody, they called him saint, a living lie against everything he built. He descended into the catacomb world beneath the palace, into the pulsing, electric thrum of the golden throne's prison. Hope was ash, dread was solid ice. The sanctum imperialis yawned, less a chamber, more the socket where a cosmic eye should weep. Not his father, never again his father. What sat enthroned was anathema to reason, a desiccated horse shimmering with rents in its once perfect flesh, bound by agonizing machinery and raw power lashing like a dying star. Rods plunged into charred sockets. It was blasphemy given shape. He forced out a thought, father. The response wasn't words. It was standing naked beneath atmospheric re-entry. A psychic onslaught, raw and bloodless. Not reassurance or pride, a crushing river of galactic stratagems, casualty reports spanning millennia, tactical projections bleeding into grim despair. A silent scream in calculus, the images seared. Barbaric chaos hordes, fragile human lives as statistical units, the grinding gears of the Imperium rotting from within. Guilliman felt his mind flattening. Where he sought kinship, he found only obligations vice. The Emperor, this crippled god thing, demanded rulership, not counsel, not acknowledgment. Guilliman was another tool on the rack, forged for duty. The weight nearly broke his spine. Command ascendant, rule, hold the rotting carcass aloft. The communion ended, the silence was a tomb. His loyalty, reforged in ash and lightning, was now a cold, heavy chain. Then the dance began. The Ultramarines revered logic. He must kneel before ecclesiarchs chanting pure dogma. He championed enlightenment. He accepted the title regent of the Terran throne, a holy avatar in the eyes of a zealot empire. He denied divinity, while unleashing Celestin, the living, breathing embodiment of the Emperor's holy fury. A weapon he saw sliced open with wet saints' blood and impossible conviction. Their faith was palpable, a tangible force smelling of ozone and desperation. It worked, he saw it. Wars tilted on prayer alone. His bedrock of atheist certitude fractured with each miracle witnessed, proof against his will. Was their pathetic faith the only thing holding back the encroaching dark, or was the Empress of clouds truly weaving reality? Hypocrisy curdled in his gut even as he manipulated these fanatics, his practiced smile a Mordor steel mask. He cited scripture to thwart doctrinal predators, all while his inner self screamed against this theocratic hellscape. The imperial truth lay dead, its ghost haunting him while true power, terrible, irrational power, flowed from blind devotion. To deny what his eyes saw was madness, to accept it was surrender. To everything he was, duty remained an anchor in the storm. When faith revolted him and logic failed, duty was his fortress. Rule the Imperium, patch the bleeding rats, starve the corruption, forge order from this apocalyptic delirium. His voice, issuing pragmatic decrees, rationing promethium, restructuring tithes, reforming troop deployment, echoed through cathedrals built on miracles. He utilized the ecclesiarchy, offering subtle validation to fuel compliance. Through clenched jaw he spoke holy decrees to loyalist worlds, knowing his word served their monstrous religious mania far more than any manifest of logic ever could. He'd sacrifice intellectual purity for one more garrison standing firm. Sacrifice his soul, perhaps function superseded all. This existence itself mocked him. The armor of fate pulsed with cold light against his renewed heart. Ancient Aeldari witchcraft healed wounds inflicted by brother Primarch, sutured by truth's anathema to his father's stolen creed. Did this alien miracle make him no longer the Emperor's son, or was this very salvation proof of divine intervention? The pressure of the armor felt like the God Emperor's psychic fist, a constant red reminder, father, sorcerer, God, tortured architect. Did the animus animating the armor bind him or grant him clarity? It didn't matter. The galaxy needed the functionary, the builder, the ruthless, pragmatic administrator of ruin. Roboute Guilliman believed in nothing beyond the endless, suffocating weight of duty. He saw the silent God thing on its golden rack, the silent demand. He would rule. He would maintain the lie, perhaps the only truth left holding back utter annihilation. Saint, son, anathema's regretful heir. Titles didn't matter, only that the walls held for one more bloody day. The son of the anathema war is grief like broken ceramite and ruled. The galaxy tore itself apart, not with weapons, but with a psychic scream that ripped reality. Katia fell, the pylons shattered, and the cicatrix maledictum, the great rift, vomited forth. One moment the stars were ours, the next, half the Emperor's realm vanished behind a wall screaming warp storm. Imperium nihilus, the dark Imperium, instantaneous horror. Astropathic choirs fell silent, minds shredded. Navigators screamed as the familiar currents vanished, replaced by a churning maelstrom where the Astronomican's light was a ghostly, distant flicker. Ships attempting translation vanished, torn apart or worse. Worlds plunged into literal and metaphorical darkness. Demonic legions manifested on 1,000 planets simultaneously, feasting on the sudden vulnerability. Order dissolved into screaming chaos. Terra itself felt the psychic shockwave, and I felt the sundering deep in my bones. Half the Imperium I had sworn to rebuild was ripped away, severed. My nascent INDOMITUS crusade, barely begun, faced an impossible frontier. Terra's beacon, my father's light, was now a frail candle seen through thick, poisoned smoke from the other side of an abyss. Crossing that abyss, it's not travel, it's suicide-made ritual. Every plunge into the Nachman gauntlet, every desperate push into the veiled region is a gamble with annihilation. The warp here isn't just turbulent, it's malignant asterisk. It claws at the Geller fields, whispers promises of oblivion. Navigators bleed from their third eyes, their senses overwhelmed by the rift's psychic vomit. Charts are useless. Old roots are death traps choked with wreckage and screaming echoes, communications, silence or worse, corrupted fragments, pleas for help that ceased millennia ago, or demonic laughter. The world's Terra Sanctus struggles, yes, but Nihilus, it's a graveyard interspersed with nightmares. Planets where the Imperial truth is a forgotten myth, replaced by primal terror and desperate, bloody cults. Death worlds where isolation has bred horrors worse than any xenos. Demonic incursions aren't events. They are the asterisk environment, asterisk. Reality bleeds here. Mutant uprisings flare like wildfires across entire sectors, fueled by the rift's corrupting emanations. And the xenos, they smell weakness, aquas, surge unchecked. Through Kari-raiding fleets descend like carrion birds. Necron dynasties stir in the dark, sensing the Imperium's vulnerability. Every engagement is fought blind, cut off, against enemies emboldened by the eternal night. Resupply, reinforcements, hope, distant concepts. You fight with what you have until you have nothing left. This is the crucible beyond the light. Amidst this despair, a beacon, Commander Dante, ancient, weary unto death, yet unbroken. Meeting him on Baal, after its defense, I saw the toll the endless war had taken, but also the unyielding core. He understood Nihilus in his marrow. He had bled for it for centuries, so I entrusted him with the impossible. Warden of Imperium Nihilus, sovereign authority, not just chapter master, but regent. It was a leap of faith. Trusting an Astartes, a son of Sanguinius, with power akin to a lord militant of old. But who else possessed his experience, his resilience, his understanding of the darkness? His acceptance wasn't joy, but grim duty. He shoulders the burden knowing it might finally kill him. But trust isn't universal. Gabriel saith the flesh tears. They embody the old wounds, the lingering suspicion to them. I am still the Ultramarine Primarch, the one who wrote the codex that perhaps constrained them. My return, suspicious the Primaris, abominations to their eyes, replacements for their flawed, dying legacy. Seth's defiance is a stark reminder. Unity under the Aquila is fractured, even here, even facing oblivion. My authority isn't absolute. It must be earned, battle by bloody battle, world by shattered world. Dante accepts the mantle. Seth questions the hand that offers it. Both are vital. Both are dangerous. Can Terra ever truly reclaim Nihilus? That is the question that haunts every transit through the screaming void. Is reunification even possible, or is this sundering permanent? My strategy is anchors and lighthouses, fortifying the Nachman gauntlet, clawing it back inch by inch, turning it from a death trap into a slightly less lethal corridor, empowering figures like Dante, granting them the authority and resources. What little we can send to hold pockets of order, establishing bastions where the light, however dim, still flickers. But the reality, Nihilus changes you, it changes everything. Worlds cut off for centuries, fighting their own wars against horrors unimaginable in Sanctus, forging their own pacts, their own interpretations of survival. They won't be the same, their faith, their culture, their very understanding of the Imperium. It will diverge radically, and he holds the line. But what does that line asterisk mean asterisk when Terra is a myth, the Emperor a distant, fading star? Can Guilliman's dream of a rational, unified Imperium survive in a realm where the only constants are darkness and the howl of the warp? Nihilus is more than territory lost. It's becoming something else. An empire forged in perpetual night, and whether it remains part of my Imperium, that may be the greatest battle of all. The dream of unity tested against the void, Ultramarines, the heart of the Imperium Secundus I once forged. How diminished it seemed now, how diminished everything seemed. 10,000 years suspended, and I awakened to find this. The light of reason snuffed out, my father worshipped as a rotting god, the legions sundered, each chapter an island, wallowing in redundant traditions, and the threats, greater than anything we faced during the scouring. Demonic legions spilling forth in numbers that dwarfed the great crusade, xenos empires rising, hungrier than ever. The Imperium wasn't just bleeding. It was minutes from exsanguination. I saw what remained of my sons. The Adeptus Astartes, still formidable, yes, but degraded, subtly weakened over millennia by ritual, superstition, lost technology, and the inevitable delusion of genocide, reduced techos of the legions. They fought with fury, yes, but they were too few, stretched too thin, shackled by doctrines evolved from paranoia, not practicality. The galaxy had moved on. The power that sufficed against Horus's betrayal was cracking under the sheer, relentless pressure of the 42nd millennium. We needed more, not just numbers, better, a weapon forged for this new, darker age. Then Belisarius Kala approached me, ancient beyond mortal measure, a mind honed sharp by millennia of forbidden research. He carried the weight of my own unfulfilled plans, buried beneath the ashes of the heresy, Apollos, a theoretical I seeded on Mars, an upgrade, stronger, faster, more resilient Astartes. He hadn't forgotten. While the Imperium slept, while Terra decayed, Cal worked. He begged scraps from the Legion genocide vaults preserved beneath the red planet. He experimented, refined, pushing the Emperor's sacred designs. Further, he named them Primaris Marines. The raw data, the projected enhancements, it was staggering. Greater organ redundancy, superior osmidification yielding denser bone structure, the Magnificat boosting muscle mass, and neural pathways beyond baseline Astartes capability. A Belisarian furnace burning hotter and more efficiently. They were physically superior to their forebears in every quantifiable metric. A culmination of the Emperor's vision and Call's persistence. I saw necessity in them. The galaxy demanded this, but Cal, his ambition burned cold and bright. He presented results, not just from Guilliman genocide, but others, the other loyalist legions. Fulgrim's flaw, Magnus's psychic potential, Perturbo's resilience, all studied, refined, and Primaris stock. Blood ravens, emperors, spears, sons of the phoenix, trappings for constructs born from sacred asterisk and asterisk tam genelines, all synthesized under Call's relentless logic, proven stable, perhaps necessary. By his calculations, yes, acceptable to me. No, never the specter of Horus, of Magnus, even of Angron, incarnate in warriors wearing the livery of Ultramarine successors. Sacrilege, it was playing with forces that nearly tore humanity apart. Cowell argued, of course, why discard genetic potential perfected through forbidden research? Why hamper the Imperium's ultimate weapon? Because the Imperium needs unity. not further reasons for brothers to doubt brothers, to see corruption, even where there might be none. I ordered the traitor Legion-derived Primaris lines sealed, purged from active deployment. Cowell complied, the gears turning behind that augmetic gaze. Choosing the future meant drawing lines, enforcing boundaries that even genius must respect. Time was a luxury we didn't possess. Cadia had fallen, tearing the galaxy in two. The roots grew dark, the enemies surge. My INDOMITUS CRUSADE needed muscle, shock troopers capable of smashing through the barriers strangling Terra, so the gray shields deployed. Thousands upon thousands of Primaris Marines held in stasis aboard the mighty ships of my fleet. They bore no chapter heraldry, just an adorned gray armor, unmarked, unquestioned, ready. Imperial fists, iron hands, salamanders, white scars, all lineages mingled under the pragmatic banner of immediate reinforcement. The strategy was direct, brutal, essential. We reached worlds screaming for aid, where Astarte's garrisons were dropping one by one. We did not ask for permission. We did not debate traditions. We descended from the heavens. Fire hands, ceramite, and the roar of new war engines like Redemptor dreadnoughts. Relief poured onto Vigilus against the Auk horde, plugging breaches that held the fate of a segmentum-spanning supply route. Reinforcements bolstered Fenris, remaining space wolves joining the fray alongside these giants against Magnus's demonic legions. The contrast stark, but the combined fury undeniable. At Altdorf, where generations of Mortarion guard bled to bite time, the gray shield smashed the death guard encirclement. Saving perhaps billions, the impact was measurable, visceral. Breaches sealed, sieges broken, worlds pulled back from the abyss. The sigil on their armor changed from gray to the colors of the chapters they saved. The reactions, however, they were a storm front as complex as the great rift itself. You should have seen Jaren Kell in that chasm on Pythos, an Imperial fist, true air. We dropped Primaris alongside his embattled brothers. Pragmatic to his core, he saw the ceramite, the bolter discipline marred only by a lack of chapter-specific traditions, slaying the enemy in precise volleys where his own depleted forces struggled. He grunted acceptance. Reinforcements were reinforcements, tools to achieve a glorious victory. Logic governed his chapter spirit. The salamanders with him, Vulcan's sons, saw strength added to their quest to protect the innocent. A larger warrior meant a wider shield. Acceptance came with relief, sighs into scorched fox grills. Even Shrike's Raven Guard, hidden ghosts themselves, embraced these newcomers on deliverance. Another blade in the shadows, and tainted by their own genocide quirks, welcome. Then others, oh others, grief and pride create powerful toxins. Gabriel Seth, that firebrand of the flesh, tears. He didn't see warriors, he saw replacements waiting. Giants unmarked by the butcher's nails toll his own blood to pay daily. These polished newcomers offering strength without the rage, a mockery of his chapter's suffering. He saw the end of his lineage. He spat accusation at me, that these were Ultramarines painted as angels of salvation, poisoning his sacred inheritance, replacing true sons whose sins gave them meaning. High Marshal Helbrecht, the Black Templar's Emperor's champion. Faith ran deep there, centuries deep, oblivion crusade doctrine, the eternal crusade, sanctified rituals binding them across star systems. These unmarked gray shields, instruments of Terra, perhaps, but were they touched by the God Emperor's light? Beneath Sigismund's gaze had they trained? Their arrival felt like structural corrosion weakening his holy fortress. Both suspected Terra's hand ultimately met my hand imposing uniformity, dissolving holy uniqueness. The Primaris are my will, their necessity made manifest. Brutally effective weapons forged in a crucible of my own despair and resolve. Look at them, designed not just for strength, but for resilience. Redundant organs shrugging off wounds that would kill a firstborn, able to fight longer, endure punishment that breaks lesser warriors. Designed for adaptability, intercessors forming solid battle lines like legions of old, aggressors disrupting with overwhelming close firepower, suppressors dominating the skies, eliminators striking with chilling precision, tools suited for specific battlefield functions, movable assets under a commander. Descend the drop pod with the right tool for the fissure breaking open your line. Cross-chapter genocide viability, specifically engineered, not just about replacing losses, but replenishing whole chapters gutted by endless war, to rebuild shattered brotherhoods with warriors biologically capable of joining them, to create a common anatomical baseline across all starts, unity imposed through shared physiology, a common framework beneath the heraldry. It forces connection, interdependence. The ancient walls separating the chapters will crumble under operational necessity fitted to their very genetics. This is what I envisioned facing the ruin storm, what my father dreamt during the crusade. A united humanity leveraging science and will to defy extinction. The Primaris are just one blade in that arsenal. Cowl inferior may yet offer others. The gamble is profound. I am reintroducing radical scientific advancement into an empire drowning in superstition. I am forcing divergent, fiercely independent warrior cultures to adapt, to accept change from the top. Resistance is profound logic, but the alternative, endless entropy, slow dissolution into barbarism, clinging to broken idols until chaos or xenos consume the last candle flame. We needed more than defenders. We needed pioneers, forgers of the future, faces of weathered firstborn brothers hardened by millennia of grim war, etched with suspicion whenever sleek repulsor transports glide overhead. Voices echoing Seth's fury, Helbrick's holy anxiety. I hear them. I understand the sacred rage rumbling beneath Terra's throne world. Tradition binds as surely as adamantium chains. But even the sacred must evolve when existence demands it. This new fire burning within the Primaris, this enhanced resilience, it's a chance, only a chance, to rebuild what Guilliman lost in death's cold embrace, to shield humanity little longer, to fight the long war, not just to endure, but with the clear, cold eyes of reason my father intended. We forge the future now, unity through strength, evolution through necessity. These warriors are my testament. The Imperium will fall unless it dares to rise. This is the new defense. This is the Primarch's burden resurgent. Let their towering forms on the battlements be the first sight foes see, a declaration humanity endures. It evolves. Listen, you want to understand survival in this galaxy, understand compromise, understand the taste of poison swallowed because the alternative is choking on ash. I am Roboute Guilliman, Lord, Commander, Imperial Regent, son of the Emperor and I make deals with devils. Every single day that creature heave reign. She reached into the tomb they'd sealed me in. Her alien hands, her alien power, pulled me back from the edge of oblivion. Think on that, the Primarch, resurrected by a xenos witch. The Imperium I woke to. It was a nightmare parody of my father's dream. Superstition choked reason, chaos clawed at its throat, and humanity stood divided, fractured, bleeding, and that moment survival wasn't a choice. It was the only imperative. So yes, I accepted her hand. I accepted the power of the Ynnari, not because I trust them, never that. Their motives are as shifting as the warp they navigate. They see paths we cannot, futures where humanity is expendable. Every word from their lips, every gesture, I weigh it. Is this truth, or merely a thread they pull to weave their own salvation, draping us in ruin? Ulthos, seers offer warnings, craft worlds lend fleeting aid against the great enemy. We share annihilation's shadow, so for now we walk the same path, uneasy, watching, knowing the knife rests in the sheath, not discarded. And that thing aboard the Macragg's honor the cowl inferior, vex poison gift, wrapped in cogitator shells and arrogance. It speaks with the dark muse's voice, dripping honey laced with venom, offers power, secrets, alliances, always at a price that twists the soul. Every interaction is a duel. Its simulated logic masks fathomless cruelty. It reminds me constantly, the Eldar are not friends. They are predators wearing the skin of necessity. They saved me, perhaps, but only because my living corpse serves their unfathomable ends in the galaxy's death throes. My gratitude is cold steel, tempered by utter vigilance. But survival demands more than just enduring the Eldar's schemes. It demands prioritizing threats. You see a xenos world burning, a fleet unleashing cyclonic torpedoes. That is my order, my calculation. Does this alien empire choke a vital supply route? Does its expansion threaten a segmentum capital? Does its very existence destabilize the fragile piece I am stitching back together? Then it burns, cleanse the infection before it spreads. There is no hesitation, no misplaced mercy for the alien. The Emperor's decree echoes. Suffer not the alien to live, but resources are finite. Armies are stretched thinner and ceramite over a breached hull. Sometimes the greater threat looms elsewhere. Sometimes the immediate cost of crushing every xenos flare-up is prohibitive. Look towards Satis. The Ta Empire pushes its boundaries, their naive optimism a grating insult. Their greater good is a cage for human souls, yet their expansion zones brush against sectors I cannot divert forces to pacify right now. Not while chaos legions batter at the Nakmund gauntlet. Not while traitor Primarchs stalk the stars. To engage them fully, would fracture my crusade, so I tolerate their encroachment. For a time I mark their borders, I note their strength. I let them believe their little empire endures by its own merit. It endures only because its destruction is currently inconvenient. A tactical pause, a holding action against a lesser evil, while I marshal strength against the greater. Remember this, tolerance is not acceptance. It is merely deferred execution. Their time will come, when the galaxy is stable enough to afford their eradication. How do I enforce this brutal pragmatism? With the traveling emperor's word I speak with his authority. I am is will made manifest for this broken age, and when diplomacy falters, when stubborn governors cling to their petty fiefdoms, when high lords obstruct vital reforms from their gilded thrones on Terra, I bring force, not just words. The compliance decree isn't parchment. It's the guns of the Indomitus Crusade fleet Primus appearing above a recalcitrant world. It is martial law declared, fortifications shattered from orbit, obstructive officials replaced or removed. I will forge unity with reason first, but with fire and bolt gun when reason fails. These are humans They understand the language of power. My father understood it. I understand it. Unity is not optional. It is oxygen. Without it, we suffocate. And dissent, meaningful dissent, rebellion that fractures the Imperium from within, that I crush utterly, without remorse, without negotiation. The Rangdan genocides taught me the cost of division. The Horus heresy burned it into my soul. Any human power, any faction that actively seeks to shatter Imperial unity in this darkest hour is a traitor as vile as any servant of chaos. They weaken us, they invite the wolves, they die swiftly, completely. My tolerance ends where humanity's survival begins. Some call it tyranny, I call it triage. Amputate the gangrenous limb to save the body. This is the cost. Every alliance with the Eldar chips away 10,000 years of doctrine. Every moment the Tau expand unmolested whispers heresy to the Puritans. The Inquisition watches me, their suspicion a palpable heat. Elements within my own Legiones Astartes, my own sons, they struggle. They see me treating with xenos. They see me withholding the Emperor's cleansing fire for expediency They whisper of betrayal, of weakness. I feel their doubt. I understand it. It mirrors the revulsion in my own heart. The Emperor's truth, the dream of human supremacy. It feels distant, tarnished. Sometimes I wonder if I am unraveling the very fabric he wove, stitch by pragmatic stitch. But look around you, the galaxy bleeds, chaos consumes. Humanity teeters on the brink. Dogma is a luxury he cannot afford. Tyranny is a corpse floating in the void. My father's dream, the Imperium he envisioned, it is gone. Replaced by this rotting, breathing carcass we must somehow keep alive. So I make the choices he perhaps could not. I swallow the poison. I clasp the alien hand. I let the lesser evil fester for now, because survival is the only victory left within our grasp. Can I hold these alliances, these compromises long enough to rebuild an Imperium strong enough to stand without them, strong enough to finally enforce his original vision? That is the question that haunts my every waking moment. That is the burden of the pragmatist. I do not know the answer. I only know I must try. For the alternative is extinction, and that I will never accept. Let's talk about Roboute Guilliman, not just the blue armor or the Avenging Son titles they pin on him now. Let me tell you about the weight. You understand the concept, of course. Stress, responsibility, multiply that beyond human limits, squeeze the entire galaxy into that term. It's duty, see, not ambition, never ambition. It feels cold, doesn't it? Calculating, like everything he does. But there's fire underneath that ice, the fire of knowing. Knowing he holds the broken pieces. That failure, the Imperium's final gasping failure, that lands on his shoulders alone. Could anyone else even understand the scale, the decay? He saw the dream, pristine, white marble and shining logic, and woke to this monument to ignorance and rot. 10 millennia of slow drowning, and he slept soundly. The guilt of that is a physical thing. A heavy plate added layer by layer, year by year, centuries, millennia. The time blurs under the weight. He designed the rules, the codex to safeguard against disaster. Built with meticulous care, and it became a cage. A framework others welded shut. The heresy happened anyway. He couldn't stop that. The dream shattered, his father broken, brother against brother sanguineous, gone, truly gone. And the structure he left behind, it curdled, failed, That knowledge, it presses down every waking moment. Doubt is a constant whisper. Is this even salvageable? Can logic win against this ocean of superstition and bloodshed? The compromises, Terra, the compromises. He must work within the madness. He must speak to high lords who see prophecy in entrails. He must stomach the ecclesiarchy making his father. The thing on the throne, a god he spent his youth denouncing. You see him stand so straight, so composed. Every muscle in his being strains against the sheer illogical suffocation. But you yield, despair, impossible. The duty is the only path. He is the only one capable of holding the impossible calculations in his mind. That is his inheritance. That is his penance. So he calculates always. The mind, it never stops. Picture the gears turning. Galactic logistics. He sees the shipping lanes, the warp routes gone dark, the harvest shortfalls on 100 worlds, the troop dispositions needed for 10 simultaneous war zones. He juggles it alongside court politics, resource allocation, historical precedents stretching back centuries. Primarch memory is frightening. He remembers every error, every cost. He is trying to rebuild within the nightmare and fight the war. Reforms, efficient administration, rational logistics, simple concepts, impossible battles against layers of ossified bureaucracy built on fear and dogma. You see a ledger, he sees a lifeline, you see a troop transfer. He sees the single thread preventing an entire sector's collapse. He pushes relentlessly the codex. It wasn't meant to be scripture. It was a tool. Now he must bend his own tools to fit this twisted reality. But he learns too. He saw the Emperor's flaw, underestimating the dark fire beneath reality. He will not repeat that mistake. He calculates chaos now. Cold fury fuels it. His father, how do you speak of that? How does he reconcile that towering figure of logic, truth, and power, with the corpse king sitting on the golden throne, that psychic agony, vast and wordless, the sheer, grotesque horror of the thing worshipped as divine? The Emperor spoke of reason, cast off superstition, and Guilliman finds himself forced to kneel before this abomination, that silent communion. The psychic touch is worse than any warp assault. It speaks without words, it demands, it judges. It uses old scars open up, the yearning for the father, the teacher, the architect, crashes against the bleak reality. And then Fulgrim, Mortarion. Mortarion especially, that putrid betrayal. The face of a brother twisted into a thing of flies and despair. The echo of Guilliman's blade striking that decaying war sight rings in his bones. He understands Lorgar now, perhaps hates him most, but Mortarion, that feels like personal defilement. A brother he tried to understand, found unbearable, who chose that the traitors are not just enemies. They are monuments to broken vows, perverted fraternity. Sanguinius haunts him. The best of them lost, the lion returned. Suspicion thrums. Can that ancient mistrust ever truly abate? It is lonely, horribly lonely, being the only functioning son left holding the rubble. The weight of their shattered family rests solely on his shoulders now. He must be the legacy. They call him the Avenging Son, symbol of hope. Divine will made manifest, the golden figure descending to save them. He saw the light in their eyes on Terra, relief, adoration, faith, They chant his name like an emperor-given Messiah. He feels the pressure of millions of prayers, a background radiation against his psyche. He must embody that hope. It is oxygen to the Imperium. He must be the unyielding regent, the god prince walking among mortals. But Guilliman, the logician, knows he knows hope is dangerous. And what does his return trigger? It isn't unity. It is fracture, schism. Already there are power blocks. Those who stand with the regent, the reformers, the hopeful, but he sees the others. Traditionalists clinging to the old stagnation like a life raft, despising his reforms. The ecclesiarchy viewing him as a threat to their power, whispering poison cloaked in piety, petty warlords and ambitious nobles seeing only opportunity in the shifting sand. He creates factions just by existing. The question presses in, especially in the quiet moments. Often in the glow of a strategic table, a quiet voice, sharp as glass. What is he truly building? Salvation or a tomb? Is he the desperately applied tourniquet, slowing the inevitable bleed out? Or is he the architect of different decline, one where the Imperium, forced into painful, logical shapes it cannot bear, shatters under pressure into entirely new configurations of ruin? Is saving the structure worth becoming the mirror image of the tyrants he fights? He sees the compromises hardening into permanence. He feels the logic warping. He stares at the throne, his father, the source of all this complication, and the calculation spins on. Can Guilliman succeed? Is humanity, this monstrous, beautiful, stubborn creature, can it endure, or is he merely the last light, standing tall before the final, absolute dar? He doesn't know. He presses forward anyway. The burden is everything. All he has left, all he is, how's this sound? Capturing the grim desperation of Guilliman versus Mortarion. Focused through Ultramar's ruined. You remember Mortarion, the grim one, the sun steeped in endurance, broken into Nurgle's embrace. After the galaxy tore open in the great rift, his patron offered him power not just to endure, but to conquer. To fester, he carved out the scourged stars, not an empire built on ambition, but on decay. Worlds surrendered not just to occupation, but to a fundamental unraveling of life itself, soul turning to necrotic slurry, oceans thick as disease-ridden phlegm, and his ancient, grudging eye, was fixed unblinkingly on Ultramar, on Guilliman's soul and Guilliman's domain. Mortarion's hatred festered for millennia, colder than the void, deeper than despair. This wasn't invasion, it was corruption's insidious crawl. Agri-worlds feeding the Imperium's billions were its first victims, transformed overnight into laughing graveyards of bloated corpses and chattering plague flies, their purpose annihilated. Mortarion stalked the choking shadows of these necrotic paradises, whispering promises of sweet surrender to Father Nurgle's unconditional embrace. When Roboute Guilliman tore himself from Terra's shackles, his Indomitus Crusade burned brightly. Then came Mortarion's light puppets marching from the scourge stars, and Guilliman had to pivot. Everything redirected towards Ultramar Segmentum. To save Ultramar was to save the Imperium's nascent hope, its fragile heartbeat. Hope met overwhelming despair, initially success. Shining Ultramarines rallied descendants across reclaimed worlds. But Mortarion merely smiled his terrible rictus grin. He had planned for hope. His legions fell back. They coiled tighter, offering poisoned gifts. Plagues turned advanced counter-invasion biopurification into horrifying accelerants. Entire space marine strike cruisers retrofitted for medical aid became plague ships vomiting viral contagions potent enough to crack ceramite, liquefy Astartes warriors inside their armor. Systems not lost to invasion succumbed to accelerated entropy. Consider Espender. Guilliman's navy broke the traitor fleet orbitally, triumphant. Then the plague hulk hit. 500 million citizens died screaming as Nurgle's chosen ritualists bled then dry through cursed gangrenous wounds opening spontaneously on planetary scale. Every reclaimed victory became fragile, temporary. Worlds were anchors slowly, inexorably dragged down beneath waves of literal pus and metaphysical despair. Worlds Guilliman ordered purged, lost forever. Then came Iax, the zenith of attrition turned hellscape siege. Iax, agri-world, turned Mortarion's parody farm, where peaches rotted upon boughs and emitted agonized shrieks. Guilliman saw this and knew it was bait. Mortarion wanted him there. Fighting encompassed a single colossal agridome complex, miraculously enclaimed by contagion. Full of refugees, Guilliman was desperate to save. Distraction, ideal battlefield, both the Primarch thrust into its steaming confines. Atmosphere itself pushed agony through Rebirth's Diego gritted teeth. Mortarion's lieutenant, Kugath Plaguefather, orchestrated vile sorcery, turning wounded soldiers into puppets, oozing plague haze potent enough even castaways stood alert. Akko's ancient Adeptus Custodes staggered. Treachery stacked upon contagion, stacked upon despair. Guilliman front lines faltered until faith happened. Frantic prayers of terror-bound pilgrims met fractured psychic echoes, scattered guardsmen dying beneath pale. Skinned hulks, whispers grew thunderous cloisters, sisters battled, chanted, together navigators, screamed incomprehensible litanies, deep spasms, warp itself shuddered. Guilliman felt it pierce reality overhead. Golden light coalesced, tearing turbulent skies. Iax apart, spectacular, consuming Kugath. Plaguefather's diseased bulk shrieking his bewildered terror dissipation. Back warp gods uttered enraged whispers, cosmic scales tipped. Surprise Guilliman knew instantly own father's psychic might manifested through human need, pressing desperation, purity, fear, anger, hope. Raw collected while shattering unitary, powerful demon prince, entire theater reeled, silent, beady cessation, plagued Bolera, crazy celestial phenomena, ocean field cleansed, round temporary respite, truth, Guilliman orders, leverage. Heck, fleeing quarantined, Adonis plague trap, desperate invasion forces, overwhelming existential hinge, robot strategy, hardened final gamble. No Mortarion sense, brother judge stalked him deliberately, Guilliman fought aboard entrance. Brother Garo gives beloved destroyer warship, reforged, fly-blown, rotten labyrinth, adrift universe dissolving end-point corruption, Mortarions. Throne room was bouquet infection incarnate, whispering souls, viney warfare, Guilliman. Advanced brother darkness spoke, quiet amidst terrible sound, spoiled orchestra first heard Mortarion's true voice. Millennium mind felt frozen shutters blow off. Brother Mortarion breath, diseased mist engulf, Guilliman's purity seals instantly peeling. Were you truly resurrected by an emperor caring? He doesn't care for your systems. Prefers hive city slaves, rotting corpses, crawling forgotten temples, worshipping corpse god him endlessly, repeating prayers futile, bleeding. All of us Primarchs abandoned, toes forgotten. Fathers lies crushed beneath truth entropies. Inevitability, acceptance, Nurgle gives, embrace, condemnation, salvation, adversity, failure, and embrace him, Roboute. Lay down unwanted burden, crusade. The remembered hero, forgotten relic, tomorrow decays, nonetheless paradise. Inevitable decay triumphs, dissolution, purest form, peace, Roboute fell. Corrode bitterness, despair seep under mighty. Ultramarine armor joints, Nurgles, philosophical assault doubles, psychic sickness, Mortarion believe illusions. Guilliman roar, defying omnipresent, rotting stillness, momentary lapse, twisting knife claim. Brothers surpass odds, defeat, resurrected growth, impossible, blindly loyal walking monument, Imperial lies. Unworthy stubbornness, unlike noble Lucius admits weakness, fragility, pain, forgiveness turns sweet mercy. Nurgle, Mortarion raised silence, whispered blade, drips poison, capable killing Primarchs, fabric creation mere centimeters. Guilliman turned challenge, locking blades, roaring fury, crashing unmatched brew. Ferocity, Guilliman stood theologizing, philosophical. Bastardization, father's dream usurped. Conquer, methodical, Guilliman fought overwhelm, physically Mortarion carnifex, satiation fueled. Dark gods, Guilliman endured, faltering faith battle, banter collapsing, swift silence pierced, Ultramarines Primarch's armor, divinitatis side, venom tinge, metallic taste, Guilliman's mouth uniform spreading. Quickly catastrophic, necrosis paralyzing, agony, moment blimps, Mortarions, hooded eyes triumph, Guilliman fell onto knee, precariously tiny balcony overlooking entrance, infinite swirling decay dimension. Justice arrives, Mortarion, Guilliman, whisper, clutching emperor's sword, golden hilt symbol. Attempted Imperium grande, reset, Mortarion raised, silence, final blow, everything Roboute attempted, unnecessary sorrow, forgive. Guilliman plunge, emperor's sword blazing, aura blinding, celestial authority, fundamental opposition, Mortarion's essence, serpentine tendrils charred, shriveling. Demon Primarch gasped. Unholy pain, unparalleled, drilled, gunstar, Guilliman pushed, blade, deep, diseased flesh poured, golden, path light borrowed, emperors, premium, reserves, faith, god blight, basically stream, holy fire against, lurked, lord, decay, Mortarion screech, agonizing dissonance, impossible, paradox, life, emperors, will forcing renewal, brutalizing, perpetually corrupted, cells, death, imperishable, shoved, mercilessly, Mortarions, lighted physiology, primal conflict ripple, horrifying scars across warp, abhorrent torture, leprechaun, farchipe, core principle, decay, assaulted, intolerable vigor, Mortarion, becoming more alive, wretchedly renewed, agony, worse anything conceivable, divinity, knife, nightmare, Roboute Guilliman, witnessed monstrosity, corpse, animated, differentiate, pushed backwards, golden fires flared unbearably, hindrance, tremble, foundations, Mortarion momentarily flickered, groomed. Teddy bear, excruciating, shudder, flee, retreated, scourge, stars, host, immediately banished, real space, screaming pain, unlike anything conceivable, banishment, terror, torture, curse, dedication, nurgle, order, blissful restoration, decay, memory-filled, screaming, well-being, horrible, breaking point, existence broken. Give a example cosmologically severe, hearing anguish, great, unclean ones, Menurgle garden, wilted petals, momentarily Guilliman stumbled, seeing Aeldari Primarch lifted. Vendetta, ultramarine gunship felt, godblighter poison, creeping, burning joint, slowing inhuman metabolic miracles, imminent shutdown. Armor, fate activated, searingly cooling, cleanse, altered, corruption, verge, grim edging, suffocating, death persisted, armors, life-sustaining embrace, necessary, forever burden, reminder, Pyrrhic victory, Guilliman surveyed, ultrama segmentum, smoking husk, continuous axe, scorched policies, purge, sterilized. Worlds, Aspender gave up rings, corpses, vaporization, fleets, swallowed, warp, storms, attrition, cripples, chapters, eliminated, millennia, treasured, agri, produce, gone, billions, citizens murdered, survivors everywhere, infection, resilient, Guilliman, watching mortals rebuild, haunted, unforgettable, truth, conflict, impossible, scale, taking scrap, reality, demon Primarchs, wielded, Mortarion momentarily retreating, scourge, stars terrifically diminished, potency, Guilliman breathed, brief sigh, relief, understanding, permanence, but always returns, promising, Guilliman scratching, Imperium sacra, fanatic, Guilliman free thought. Agency, grief, ultramal, Lazarus, municipality, remember, miracle, rule, burden, Guilliman faced, will alone battles, humane, turning point, impossible, overwhelming, Guilliman seize, punched, Guilliman gift, Guilliman stand, demon Primarch, Mortarion sea, fury abating, disillusionment, bleak perseverance, scarred, corruption, both practical paralysis, Guilliman understands, now Guilliman forever fighting, infection, warp, depth, resilience, Mortarion forces, suffering, deepest, questions, purpose, nurgle, entire, conflict, Guilliman feels, Mortarion's, plague, frostbite, scarring soul, victory, ugly, fracturing.